Please check security, open and happy.
Hi, I would like to request some help from my daughter, who's a student at University of Utah, and she started dating this guy, Sarah, who's like a bad person.
Okay.
And she found out he's a bad person, and she broke up with him, and he has a car. Yep, he was lying to her, and he's actually a sexual offender. I don't want her to go there by herself and have like something bad happen to her.
A mother makes a call to a 911 center over 600 miles away to try to get protection for her daughter, a young woman being menaced by a stalker with a disturbing history. Her request that day would be one of many things that fell short of protecting the life of this young woman. Join us today as we look into the troubling case of Lauren McCluskey. Before we start, we would like to send our deepest sympathies to the family and friends of Lauren McCluskey, a young woman taken far, far too soon. Lauren McCluskey was a star at just about everything she did from a young age. She danced, she sang, she was a phenomenal track and field athlete. She excelled in school and in sports, winning medals and academic awards. Eventually, she would accept an invite to the University of Utah, leaving her home in Pullman, Washington, to head to Salt Lake City to begin her adult life. At Utah, she would compete in the heptathlon, a combined track and field discipline considered one of the greatest tests of a female athlete. The 100-meter hurdles, high jump, shot put, 200-meter run, long jump, javelin throw, and 800-meter run would see her become one of the standout members of the university team. Lauren was also an excellent student, majoring in communications, and had developed a steady group of friends by her senior year. It would all come crashing down, though, one September evening in 2018 after a chance encounter. Lauren and a friend had gone out for an evening of dancing and drinks one Friday night at a small club near the University of Utah campus. That evening, though, a man caught Lauren's eye. As the evening wore on, he introduced himself as Sean Fields. Sean explained that he was working at the club as a bouncer, but was also a student at nearby Salt Lake Community College. He was 28, Lauren was 21. The two hit it off. Sean was charming and obviously attracted to the younger woman. They exchanged phone numbers and made a date for the next day to get together and get to know each other a little better. And that they certainly did. Lauren was over the moon for Sean, her friends would say. She even called her mom to tell her about the new man in her life. Jill McCluskey, Lauren's mother, said that she told her Sean had taken her to dinner, bought her flowers, and just tried to sweep her off her feet. He'd even sweetly asked her to be his girlfriend. Tall and muscular, Sean was a handsome guy and a good talker. He took immediately to the athletic and outgoing Lauren. They seemed to be a good match, and a serious relationship soon blossomed. The two quickly became an item. Sean would often stay overnight at Lauren's dorm room, and she often would loan him the use of her car. Friends of Lauren began noting that there were some red flags emerging as the relationship developed. At first, Sean would ask her to invite her friends along for outings, but would request that Lauren dress in a specific way, generally in a t-shirt and jeans. Later, when she would be out with her friends, Sean would call her phone constantly, asking what she was doing, who she was with, and when they would be back. If she didn't answer immediately, he would question her about what took her so long. Lauren would explain it away to her friends, saying Sean had some insecurities because he had been treated very badly in a prior relationship. These incidents were just the result of that and surely would go away with time. Sean also began telling Lauren how important it was that she be careful around others and be prepared in case something bad was to happen. He bought her a can of pepper spray and told her to carry it with her everywhere. He then invited her to go shooting at a gun range with him and tried to buy her a handgun. By this point, Lauren had completely quit hanging out with her friends and was spending time outside of class and track practice exclusively with Sean. Her friends were worried, and they contacted the residency hall workers in her dorm. The people working there had noticed Sean hanging around as well, and they were worried about her. They had heard him wanting to get her a gun and had noticed that she wasn't taking care of herself as well as she had been before. They also had worries that he had begun tracking her movements as she came and went around the campus. This would be part of a pattern, and not just a pattern of an overly possessive boyfriend, but one of an institution trying to oversee and administer the lives of over 32,000 young students. Lauren McCluskey, star athlete and outstanding student, was just another speck in the sea of campus life. There was something wrong about Sean. The new boyfriend wasn't what he appeared to be, and he certainly wasn't who he said he was. One day, Lauren just happened to catch sight of Sean's photo ID. Sean Fields, it turns out, wasn't a 27-year-old community college student and an all-around good guy. The ID listed his name as Melvin Sean Rowland, and he was a decade older than he said he had been. Born in 1981, Melvin had a knack for shooting a line of half-truths, lies, and tall tales at the women he wanted to pick up. His charming, disarming nature made him a natural at the pickup game, whether he met the women on campus or through dating apps. He could hide who he was very well and become someone interesting and accessible at will. Later investigations would turn up a number of women who had fallen for his lies to one degree or another. Lauren had fallen for this in a big way. Seeing his photo ID shook her perception of the relationship to its core as reality began settling in. Melvin, though, wasn't just a campus-adjacent pickup artist. He was hiding a very dark secret, one that would not be uncovered until October the 5th, when Lauren went back home to Pullman, Washington on autumn break. There, she confided in a friend what had happened and what she had found out. Her friend suggested that they take some time and look into Melvin Sean Rowland, age 37, of Salt Lake City, Utah. A very quick internet search turned up some very disturbing news. Melvin was a registered sex offender. On July 19, 2004, Melvin had been convicted of enticing a minor, a second-degree felony, and attempted forcible sexual abuse, a third-degree felony. He had served 9 years in the state penitentiary and had been released on parole on September the 3rd, 2013. Lauren knew she had to break it off and get away from this man. She returned to school in Utah and was going to break up with Melvin on October the 9th. She called him that day and he came over. Friends say that the breakup didn't really happen on that day as planned, but that Melvin had ended up spending the night in Lauren's dorm. She told her friends that he had apologized for giving her a false name, and then he explained the incident that had happened while he was at a frat party, and the girl in question had said that she was much older than she actually was. He said the other allegations against him just weren't true. Lauren's friends were dubious upon hearing the story and talked her into really ending the relationship the next day. She did, but not before loaning Melvin her car for the day. Lauren would later on that day call her mom and explain to her what had happened, including her loaning out of the car. She said she was supposed to meet him that evening and get her car back. Jill McCluskey, like any parent, was very worried about what could happen that evening, so she called the university police department to see if they could look after her while she got her car back.
He was lying to her, and he's actually a sexual offender. I don't want her to go there by herself and have something bad happen to her. Hello?
Hi, this is Lauren.
Yeah.
Hi, this is University Police. Your ex-boyfriend dropped me off your car. Do you feel comfortable with him doing that? I know your mom was really concerned about it.
Yeah, I think it's okay.
We have a well when the car stays dropped off?
That would be great.
The exchange of the car went off without any problem, apparently, and the two went their separate ways. After getting the car back, Lauren has 2 days of relative peace. She returns to classes and goes about picking her life back up. Then the texts start coming in. Disturbing ones from numbers she didn't know, but talking about Melvin.
I've been getting these texts about from these numbers of different people. They were saying that he was in the hospital and then saying that that he passed away. But then I got a text from him and that he seems to be alive. I got a text about, asking if I wanted to go to his funeral. And I think they're trying to lure me somewhere.
She would call the police again later that day as the texts continued coming in.
Okay, have you asked them to stop texting you?
I have not, but I've blocked a few of the numbers already.
All right. I will send this to an officer to give you a call. Is that okay?
Yeah, sounds good.
Lauren did not receive a call back from the campus police department that day. The text came from Melvin's number saying that he was okay and that something weird was happening. Someone was trying to lure her somewhere. Was there something else going on? And then more unknown number texts came in, now saying they had compromising photos of her and Melvin. They demanded $1,000 or they would release the images to everyone. They sent one of the images to Lauren as proof. Melvin then emailed Lauren on the morning of October the 13th, saying that he too was being blackmailed. He advised her to pay the money, and she did, sending $1,000 through Venmo to an unknown extortionist out of fear and shame. She called the campus police department again that morning, now with the feeling that Melvin was behind the blackmail rather than some unknown party. The dispatcher then contacted the University of Utah police officer Miguel Deras. They provided him with the basic information on the complaint. Feeling they needed to make a plea to the police department in person, Lauren and a friend went across campus to speak to an officer in person. Once inside, they met with the campus police and explained what had happened to her. Even after providing Melvin's name and that he was a registered sex offender, the officers advised Lauren that this is probably just a scam and that she is probably in no real danger. The young women leave under the assumption that they've taken the right steps and that something will be done about the problem. Sadly, as later investigations would show, absolutely nothing was done about the problem. Officer Deras had been provided with copies of the text and the image. He would add the image to his private collection, later on telling another officer that it was his now and he could look at it anytime he wanted. After hearing nothing back from the campus police, Lauren called back to the department and spoke to the dispatcher again.
I've been blackmailed for money.
Let me go ahead and get you over. University of Police will probably take the case then. Just one sec.
I've talked to them already, but I just wanted to call you as well.
Usually we just take it where you live, and then that agency does a case.
Yeah, I was just concerned because I wasn't sure how long they were going to take.
Okay, let me get you up to them so they can see what's going on with it. Just one moment.
Do you know when an arrest would be made?
You can talk to an officer if you want. I can arrange that if you want that.
Okay.
On October 19th, Melvin returns to the area around Lauren's dorm. Now, Melvin has taken a turn to the weird as he is seen walking back and forth in the parking lot outside of the dormitory, now dressed as the Marvel Comics character Deadpool, complete with a pair of swords strapped on his back. He also is carrying a small black bag that seems to have something heavy in it. Lauren returns from track practice to her dorm about 45 minutes after Melvin began parading in costume around the parking lot. No one knows who he is during this time. She enters the dorm and heads upstairs. Only a minute later, Melvin, still dressed as Deadpool, comes to the door of the dormitory. He had just missed her. there was no telling what would have happened had he run into her just moments before. While the police have done nothing in the case as far as Lauren knows, she had received a distressing communication from Melvin. He tells her that he knows she has contacted the police. Lauren is left to imagine that someone, somewhere in the police department has told Melvin what's going on and that she is trying to protect herself from him. She has no way of knowing that weeks earlier she had used Melvin's phone to log into and check her email account and that he had saved her passwords. He had complete access to her communications with the police department, friends, and family for the entire time. Unknowingly, she had called the Salt Lake City Police Department, hoping to engage a separate department for help in the case.
I'm worried because I've been working with the campus police at the U, and last Saturday I reported, and I haven't gotten an update.
Okay.
But someone contacted me today, someone who was arrested, and said that they know everything about the police.
Okay. So you already spoke to the campus police?
Yes, they haven't updated or done anything.
And what prompted you to call Salt Lake City Police?
Well, I thought it was weird that there are people who know about the entire case and the harassers seem to know about it more than me. And I'm concerned there might be an insider who's letting them know about the case.
Okay. So with
Because I haven't gotten an update, and it's been a week.
With something like that, you would want to contact the campus police back and ask to speak to your detective.
The police, because of jurisdictional rules, feel that they can be of little assistance directly. While they have jurisdiction throughout the city, it generally stops at the border of the campus. Within the University of Utah area, jurisdictional rights go to the campus police department, compounded by the actions of Officer Dedas. There is also a case to be made that once Lauren made the allegations that someone in the department might have been tipping Melvin off, she may have sounded crazy and paranoid rather than someone who was justifiably worried about their safety. Lauren would email the department again that evening, but confided in her mother that she felt that she was just annoying them. Telephone records show that she had called one or both of the police departments on multiple occasions over multiple days, looking for a solution to the problem. 3 days later, on October the 22nd, the situation would come to a head. Surveillance camera footage shows Melvin leaving his apartment at 6 a.m. He has borrowed a car, a silver Buick, from his neighbor. He drives over to the parking lot out in front of Lauren's dorm, and he approaches the building on foot. He does not gain entry into the building and wanders off. Lauren would leave around 9 a.m. She had just received a message claiming to be from a Deputy Chief McLennan with the University Police Department, asking her to come to the station and see some evidence, but not to call him back as he would be in a meeting. Suspicious, she doesn't reply, but instead heads out to a meeting with a counselor that she has been seeing to help her through the breakup and the ensuing problems. She makes it to the building where she is to meet with the counselor just a few minutes later, has the appointment, and then leaves the building in just under an hour. Melvin then enters the same building, just missing her by minutes. Please note that Melvin is once again carrying that small black bag which swings as if it has something weighty in it. It is the same bag he carried while wearing the Deadpool costume. He's looking for Lauren but doesn't find her. He heads back over to her dormitory. Here, he finesses his way into the dormitory by saying he doesn't have his key or something to that effect. Melvin talks his way into a group of 4 young men at the dorm. He regales them with false stories of his time in the Marines. As the day passes, 3 of the young men drift away. The 4th would later tell police that Melvin had asked if he wanted to see what was in the bag he was carrying. Inside was a .40 caliber Beretta handgun and a full magazine of ammunition. Melvin let the student handle the gun before taking it back and parting ways with him. During this time, Lauren had gone on a Saturday evening class and she was just about to head back to her dorm. It had been a tough week, and she decides to call her parents and speak with them as she makes the short walk across campus. At her dorm, Melvin leaves at virtually the same time. He intends to intercept her along the path that he knows she will take. Her parents are listening intently as she describes her day. They hear her shout as Melvin makes his move. Matt McCluskey immediately calls 911 on the family's landline as his wife tries to get Lauren to speak.
Hi, my daughter, Lauren McCluskey, was talking to her mom, and then she just started saying, no, and it sounded like someone might have been grabbing her or something.
All units, attempt to locate a suspect involved in possible kidnapping. The victim is Lauren McCluskey. Her mother heard her yell, no, on the phone. Then the line went quiet.
All right, and you said she was walking to her car from what building?
From the GC, which is,
Gardner Commons?
oh, someone's been talking on her phone. Hello? Okay. Could you just stay there? I think she was mugged.
Good location. All right, where did that backpack out? Can you get a location for me? University Police.
Hi, I just found a whole bunch of stuff spread out all over the ground and a phone that had an active call. I picked it up.
Okay.
The name says...
I was just on the phone with her parents.
Okay.
I'm having officers responding up that way.
Melvin had grabbed Lauren and drug her back to the silver Buick. He drew his pistol, threw her into the back seat, and shot her 7 times, nearly point blank. As calls came in to 911 from around the area where the shots were fired, Melvin made his way out of the parking lot, across a bridge and down a street to the nearby tracks stop on the Salt Lake City's light railway system. Melvin sits patiently and makes a phone call. You see, he's waiting to be picked up for a date that he had made earlier in the day on a dating app. He had arranged beforehand to be picked up at this location. Unsuspectingly, the woman drives up. He gets in her car, and the two go out for dinner and a walkabout of the state capitol building grounds. He had obviously planned this as a means to escape the area and establish an alibi for his actions during the time of the murder. Meanwhile, the police are moving into action all over the area, and Lauren's parents are desperately trying to find out what is happening.
Hello, this is Matt.
Hi, Matt. Val with the University of Utah. Police. And do you guys work for her or anything?
No, we have not.
Okay.
We're heading westbound from the North Medical Tower. The city has a group of police officers in the community heading northbound.
We do have officers on the handling right now. We're actively looking for her. We're doing everything we can to track her down.
And then they find the silver Buick with Lauren inside.
In the car. We need an ambulance. Parking lot.
Police cordon off the area of the murder, and they try to put out an all-points bulletin to be on the lookout for Melvin. They know who did it because they've been told time and time again for days that he was a threat to the young woman. Now it was too late to do anything but hunt for her killer. Melvin, by this time, is involved in light chit-chat and deciding what he would like to order for dinner. Over the next couple of hours, police are scouring the area, an area that he has moved away from. Melvin's date finished up, and he's dropped off at a different part of town. He is spotted by police, and a foot chase ensues.
I have officers chasing your suspect on the shooting. He is in foot pursuit right now.
Melvin then busts in the door at the 130-year-old Trinity AME Church of Salt Lake City and seeks shelter within.
We have the suspect inside the church. It looks like he has a gunshot wound self-inflicted.
Police enter, knowing the man is armed and ready for a fight. They move room to room before hearing a single shot ring out. Melvin Sean Rowland had taken his own life.
On foot, they chased him to this location after making entry into the church, and officers then coming shortly thereafter and clearing the building. They found our suspect deceased in the room.
The manhunt was over. An innocent young woman had been murdered, and a community would begin to question why no one had taken even the simplest of steps to prevent it. They asked how could someone begging for help, providing them with all of the information they needed, just basically be ignored. And then came other questions. Why did law enforcement at the campus police department not run even the simplest background check on who Melvin was? Had they done even the simplest check on his background, they would have learned that the man was on parole. Had they even bothered to contact his parole officer, he would have been quickly taken off the streets and put back in jail for making threats and attempting to extort money from Lauren. Melvin had been incarcerated before for violating the conditions of his parole and had a history of making inflammatory statements at his own parole hearings.
Every woman I've met or come across, I used my manipulation tactics to get what I wanted.
In answer to journalists' questions about whether Melvin could or would have gone back to jail, his parole officer left no doubt that he would have been immediately arrested and returned to jail had the department simply picked up the phone and alerted him to his actions. And what about Officer Darus? He resigned from the campus police department and then took a job with the nearby Logan Police Department. After they were made aware of his actions, he was immediately terminated from his job. Charges were filed against him using the state's revenge pornography law for mishandling evidentiary pictures and showing it to at least one other officer. But the charges were dropped when the evidence from his phone was inconclusive after a data download. The circumstances behind that data discrepancy have been under question for some time.
There is not a statute that allows us to file the charges, and that was our problem. It doesn't mean that there wasn't an injury or harm that was caused by this officer's conduct.
I was shocked by the fact that the district attorney Sim Gill did not pursue justice. He engaged in so many phone calls with her and texts, and even visited with her in person on more than one occasion, and then she trusted him and he betrayed her trust. And we just want to change the culture that listens to women and believes women when they ask for help, that it's not this "I can't help you with your boyfriend" problem culture, which is what Lauren.
There was also the question of where did Melvin get the handgun that he used in the crime? As a convicted felon on parole, there should have been no way for him to legally purchase or possess a handgun. It turns out that he had gotten it from an associate, Nathan Vogel, who was also a convicted felon. Vogel had had his girlfriend of only a few days purchase the gun for him. If you'll remember, Melvin had once asked Lauren to buy a gun for him, and this is actually a common way for felons to get around gun laws by conning unsuspecting relations to make the purchase for them.
This lady cooperated in our investigation. She brought forth facts that we were aware of but couldn't confirm regarding Mr. Vogel. She has absolutely no criminal history. The evidence indicates that Mr. Vogel used her as well. They had known each other for 11 days. She thought they were an item. Mr. Vogel should have never done this if he hadn't given the gun to Mr. Rowland. Ms. McCluskey would likely be alive today. I don't think he had an intent to have Ms. McCluskey murdered, but this goes to show you that when you obtain a gun illegally, they always end up in the wrong hands, and tragic events happen.
Vogel turned himself in to police and explained that he had provided Melvin with the handgun after he saw what had happened. He pled guilty, and Lauren McCluskey's family agreed to the sentence that was given. At the family's request, his then-girlfriend's trial would be suspended for 18 months if she could stay out of trouble. The McCluskeys would go on to sue the University of Utah and its campus police department for the massive amount of incompetence and negligence they had shown in the handling of Lauren's pleas for help. The two suits requested a total of $56 million and were eventually settled out of court. The McCluskey family would receive $10.5 million, and the newly formed Lauren McCluskey Foundation would receive $3 million to help its efforts to increase security for students on campuses nationwide. The university would also build a new indoor track training facility and name it in honor of Lauren.
I want to express how sincerely sorry we are for the McCluskeys' profound loss of their daughter, Lauren. A stellar student, a gifted athlete, and a person we're honored to have at the University of Utah. I'll now read a formal statement from the university. The University of Utah has worked collaboratively with the McCluskey family to reach a settlement in the death of their daughter, Lauren. The university acknowledges and deeply regrets that it did not handle Lauren's case as it should have, and that at the time its employees failed to fully understand and respond appropriately to Lauren's situation. As a result, we failed Lauren and her family. If these employees had more complete training and protocols to guide their responses, the university believes they would have been better equipped to protect Lauren. We share with the McCluskeys an interest in working to improve campus safety for all students, not only on our campus, but on campuses across the country. With our commitment to learning from our mistakes, we honor Lauren and we ensure that her legacy will be improved campus safety for all students. We are engaged in making meaningful and lasting changes in our approach to campus safety, particularly in how we respond to and assist crime victims through focusing on research-based approaches to violence prevention. We believe that these changes will build a culture of safety that prioritizes the needs of crime victims and provides them with the full response and support that they need, while recognizing that this is an ongoing process that takes time, resources, and our complete commitment.
Thank you to everyone who came here on this solemn occasion as we remember and miss Lauren on this anniversary of her death that occurred 2 years ago today. We acknowledge and applaud the many positive changes that have occurred at the University of Utah since her death, and we hope they continue. This settlement is important for many reasons. It addresses how Lauren died, but it also honors how she lived. All the money from the settlement will go to support the Lauren McCluskey Foundation missions, which include campus safety, animal welfare, and amateur athletics. $10.5 million comes from the insurance, the company that insures the University of Utah, and we are hopeful that this will cause insurance companies worldwide to view campus police who do not respond to women with urgency as a risk. And we hope that that changes policy nationwide. The remaining $3.5 million is being donated directly to campus safety programs at the Lauren McCluskey Foundation. We intend to do important things with this that will make campuses safer nationwide.
In the end, it won't undo the horrible things that were done, but perhaps it will positively influence how police departments handle such complaints. If you found this case compelling, don't forget to like the video, comment down below your take on it, and please subscribe to the channel. Also hit the notification bell in order to stay up to date each time we reveal a new shocking case. Until next time, stay safe and keep your eyes peeled. You never know what's lurking in the shadows.